in and then we'll get. All right, everyone. My name is Megan. I'm with Craftsmith. And before we get started, I just want to remind you that if you are crafting along with me today, that is totally fine. I may be going a little bit faster than you just because I've clearly made this project at least once before. But if you get lost or confused on any of the steps, please go ahead and pop a question in the chat and either I can answer you or my coworker Emily can. This class will also be up on the Michael's YouTube in 24 to 48 hours. So if you do need like clarification on anything or want to watch anything again, you can totally find this class on their YouTube later. And I just want to remind you all too, if you do make this, please feel free to customize this however you want. This basic technique can really be made with any colors and patterns that you like. And I love to see people be creative. So if you do make this today, whether you copy me exactly or you make your own thing, I would love to see it. Please tag us we are on Instagram and Facebook at Craftsmith Co. We'd love to see it. Michael's would as well. I believe their hashtag is Make It With Michael's and Michael's classes. So please share if you make these. I know there were quite a few paper pads on my product list. And you might be able to get away with less, but I just wanted to show you your options today. We are going to be making this holiday card, which I think is quite useful because if you're not someone that has the time or energy to get a holiday photo of your whole family done, you can use individual photos, or if you're a pet parent like me, there's no way my dog and cat are going to pose together. I've got a 9-month-old puppy and a 10-year-old cat. They get along, they're not going to sit still next to each other. So I was able to use 3 separate photos and go ahead and make this card. We can switch to the overhead camera now. All right, so just a little bit better view of the card. This is 5 by 7. I'm not making an envelope today, but I do believe if you need envelopes to mail your cards, Michael should have them on their website. So this is our outside view and our inside view. I added a nice little white sheet there just so it would be easier to write on. This is a completely optional step, but I will still do it today. So let's go ahead and just get started by showing you the paper pads we're going to use. Like I said, I have a few on the supply list. You don't have to purchase this many unless you really love them. I love these paper pads. These are my favorites. This is one of my favorites. I use it in almost everything I craft for Christmas. It is just a little 6 by 6 holiday shimmer pad. So there's just a bunch of holiday basic colors in here and they're all shimmery and pearlescent. This is a super useful paper pad. I highly recommend getting this, even when it's not Christmas. This is useful. We've also got our Peppermint striped paper pad. I absolutely love a red and white Christmas. That is my color scheme. So this is always a paper pad. If we make it, I buy it and I craft with it, because it's literally all red and white with usually a little bit of accents in there. This year, our accents are green and a little bit of gold foil. And then I highly recommend, we have some neutral paper pads at Michael, or solid paper pads at Michael's right now. I'm going to be using the solid reds, which is just a bunch of shades of red, as you can tell from the color. And the solid neutrals is what I used for my panel on the inside. So really this one is optional. You can use any white paper that you have, but this is just a really great, useful year-round paper pad. I know these are labeled as Christmas, but honestly, I would just pick it up and use this year-round. We have the reds, we have this one, and I believe we also have a holiday greens paper pad in store right now. I did not use that on this class, but honestly, I would just go buy this, and the green one and use them in my crafting projects year round, because these are just some great, beautiful basic colors that you will end up using on everything. So I'm going to set this one aside and this one aside for the moment. And my little shimmer guy too. I'm going to be using a paper cutter today. If you do not have access to a paper cutter, that's okay. You can use a ruler and scissors. That works just fine too. But if you have a paper cutter, they're really useful. However, if you are a younger crafter, a tiny crafter, get some parental supervision for using a paper cutter, especially if you've got one with the nice arm like this, because you can accidentally hurt yourself. All right. So my actual base of my card is made out of this Christmas reds. And I'm going to go ahead this time and use the exact same red. So I'm going to flip through. I think it was the second red in here. There's, I believe, 4 sheets of every color. So you have quite a few uses. Yes. So if you're want to make yours exactly like mine, use the second red, which is this really vibrant Christmas red. Go ahead and pull that out. All right. So this is 5 by 7, which means this is 10 by 7. So that's what we need to cut out of this sheet. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut my sheet down to 10 inches and then flip it. Cut it down to 7. Set my scraps aside. Scraps are always useful. Okay. So now you've got your sheet that is the same size as your card, your finished card, but clearly we need to fold it in half. If you're really good at folding by hand, you go ahead and fold. Just go slow. I did not cut mine straight. I'm realizing this now. Let's fix this. That is very, very uneven right there. You can kind of tell. So I'm going to make it better real quick. There we go. Couldn't tell until I went to fold it. All right. One thing about this paper pad, it won't show up really on camera, but if you're using it, you'll be able to see one side holds more texture and one side is more smooth. I want the textured side to be on the outside of my card. So I just want to make sure when I fold it, that textured side is on the outside. And then very carefully fold your card. It is okay if it's not perfect. Just get it as good as you can. I apparently am still a little bit off, I can tell. All right. I don't have to trim that down, but I knew it would bother me, so I went ahead and trimmed it. All right. So if you're making the card the same orientation as mine, you want to make sure it opens this way. If you want to switch things up, you can make your card horizontal and just make sure it opens that way. But I'm going to treat mine like a book and put the spine on the left. The next thing we're going to do is use our Peppermint paper pad, which is that guy. Now, if you are copying this card exactly, I'll show you which sheet I used. It should be pretty obvious, but I used this sheet, the Merry Christmas sheet. I think just to show you that you can make a bunch of different similar cards in any pattern you wish, I'm going to switch it up this time. I still like a majority of red and white, but I think I'm going to try adding in a little bit of a green accent this time. So I'm going to use the Christmas light sheet this time. But again, if you want to copy mine, go with the Merry Christmas sheet. But I like this one. I'm going to try it with this one this time. It's just got shades of red and pink for the lights, and then the wire is a little bit green. Okay. So I need to be able to leave a border on each side of my patterned paper here. So this is 5 by 7. So I'm going to cut my sheet down to 4.5 by 6.5. because when I place that on top, that'll give me about 1/4 inch on each side if I center it properly. If you are using a pattern that has a clear right side up and upside down, we will need to make sure we are cutting things the correct direction and putting it down the correct direction. Because say I cut this page so that it fit that, but I wanted my card to go this way, that's a problem. So just pay attention if there's a direction on the sheet you choose. So I need this to be 4.5 inches wide. And then I need it to be 6.5 inches tall. So that will be the correct orientation on my card. I'm not putting it down yet. I'm going to show you what I mean by it if it was wrong so that you know. So if I accidentally did it 6.5 inches this way, 4.5 inches this way, and I want my card to be tall and open this way, well, I just put my Christmas lights on sideways. So just pay attention to your print. And don't get it confused with your scraps. And make sure it goes the right direction, the same direction as your card orientation. Well, let's set that aside. If you would like to do the white insert on the inside of your card as well, we do the exact same thing. Choose the shade of white that you wish. Make a 6.5 by 4.5. And that is what's going to go in here. If you would like to make a smaller card, you can. You will just have to scale everything down. I think this just needs to go over here at the moment. Okay. So we're going to start fairly easy. If you're doing the white insert in your card, go ahead and whether you're using printer paper or if you're using the cardstock off the pad like I did, and just throw some kind of double stick tape. You can use a glue runner. You can use any adhesive you like on the back. And then try to center it on this half of the card. I think I made mine a little lopsided, but it's in there, so it works. Okay. Now I'm just judging to see if my whole card is lopsided real quick. I think it might be slightly lopsided. I'm going to check it. I think I'm just being overly perfectionistic. Shouldn't be. It's fine. But sometimes I am. All right. I know it's barely visible, but that looks better to me. Okay. You can use something like Elmer's glue or tacky glue, any, for lack of a better term, wet glue, liquid glue that you wish. I'm not a big fan of liquid glue because I feel like it always gets messy and it never dries correctly, or in time rather. So I tend to use double stick tape and hot glue on most things, unless you've got a super quick drying glue. You can use any paper pads and any, I'm sorry, I lost my words, any paper pads and any tools you have on hand that will get the same desired effect. It is totally up to you. That's part of why I'm showing you 2 different patterns, just so you're going to see what it looks like to use this same technique I did, just in maybe different colors or different prints. If you have something like, if this is a little bit too contemporary for you with the background here, maybe make something a little bit more traditional. So yes, you can switch things up however you will. You are the artist, you are the craftsperson, you do you, and I'd love to see it. All right, so if you're following along, we should have that stuck to the front and that stuck to the inside if you're doing the inside panel. Clearly mine is a little crooked on the inside. Just gonna go with it. It's really hard when you have it open like this to correctly line that up, and whoops. Oh well, it's just the inside. People are gonna care the most about the outside. All right, you also will need photographs. I went ahead and pre-printed and pre-cut out photographs I wanted to use. You can use, the same photograph. You can use separate photographs. If you have more than 3, maybe kids you want to put on the front of your card, just change the size of your circles. My photographs are 2 inches, and I made them black and white because I just felt like a color photo was competing with all the Christmas colors in my card, and they just kind of stood out this way for me. So choose whatever photos you wish. Perfect circles. To be quite honest, I'm going to show you in a minute. I have tricks. Okay. The best thing you can do if you want perfect circles is invest in a few different sizes of circle punches. We have a bunch of them. I did not use only circle punches on this though. This is a 2 1/4 inch circle punch. And so that's actually how I got the red border on my ornaments here. My photos I actually cut by hand. This is my cat Marty, by the way. So if you took a super close look at them, they probably wouldn't be super great circles. But I did pretty good. If you don't want to invest in circle punches, get yourself a really cool circle stencil like this guy, which just has a ton of different sizes you can use. This is such a useful circle stencil. You can find circle stencils, I'm sure, at Michael's and all kinds of places, and there's all kinds of sizes. So if you're going to use a circle stencil, like I said, just make sure there's options. One like this even lists like what size each circle is. But in my case, we're going to do 2 inch circles for that guy. And all you're going to do when you do trace your circle on, if you're doing it by hand, normally I would tell you to flip this over or flip your sheet over and trace on the back so you don't have pencil lines. But for something like this, you need to make sure you were like putting that face in the right spot. So definitely use a pencil and definitely trace really lightly so that you can see and still like get all your pencil to disappear when you cut it out. You can also, if you really want to be a cheat, if you have access to Photoshop or different photography apps, you can size these and crop them to circles in those apps and just print them out at the correct size. These are not on photo paper, just FYI. They're just on a really nice inkjet paper printed with our nice printer. So unless you really want to invest money in printing your photos really high quality and cutting them out, you don't have to. It's just a Christmas card. It's just going to go through the mail and unfortunately probably get a little beat up in the mail. So you don't have to put a ton of money into the printing of the photos unless you really, really want to. Because a nice printer, they will spin nice paper, they will still last for quite a while. Okay. What we are going to use my nice circle punch for, or a circle stencil, is my ornaments and this shimmer pad. I used a red background for my ornaments here, as you can tell. I'm debating if I should change colors with this one, but that might be too much color for me. I like a little bit more of a monotone look. So I feel like if I'm going to have the little bit of green already in this background, and then that green ribbon later, that might be too much green for me. So I think I'm going to stick with the red. But if you want to not make it so monochrome and add in more color, this is the pad for you. It will look pretty cool, even if you did each ornament a different color. So feel free to experiment with what you like. I just like things to be a little bit more monochromatic. I'm a little bit just that person. So the two sheets that I'm using on my card are going to be the red shimmer, which is the first color in here. And if I get it real close to the camera, you can see like this thing just catches the light. It's really pretty. And then we need the silver or the gray shimmer. This is going to be our ornament tops. And again, maybe you want to make gold ornament tops. That is totally up to you. I'm going to make mine silver. Okay. If you are using a punch, what you are going to do, I flip mine over usually. That way I can make sure that like I can see where it's going to punch and I'm not accidentally like punching like that or, you know, somehow missing a bit. So I always turn mine over when I punch it so that I can see. If you'd like to go ahead and use a stencil, this is going to be one of the occasions where I'm going to tell you to flip it over and draw on the white side. That way, when you cut it out, you're not going to get your pencil lines on your nice, pretty paper. It's the equivalent of hiding your work. Okay. Doesn't matter which side I punch, I just flip the punch over so that I can see. And I need 3 of these. Like I said, these are the absolute best. We're just getting nice, precise circles. If you have like a cutting machine, like a Silhouette or a Cricut, that's also an option to get nice, pretty circles, the exact size that you need them, or even to find a way to cheat with what I did for my ornament tops. All right, my ornament tops, I'm gonna pair these up so you can see why I'm doing each one. My ornament tops, I'm going to, I could use the paper cutter for this. We're gonna instead, putting a scrap down so you can see. We're gonna instead go ahead and just use a ruler and a pencil so you can see that. So I want my ornament tops, I made myself a note. I thought a good scale was to be about 1/2 inch tall and 3/4 inch wide. So I've got my ruler down and I'm gonna mark 1/2 inch. And 1/2 inch. And 1/2 inch. And go ahead and line these up. And then I need them to be 3/4 inch. That is the wrong side. I was trying to use centimeters. That would not work as well. I'm going to be 3/4 inch wide. So marking the appropriate places. And these don't have to be perfect, since you're not putting them like geometrically in a straight line on the card. You're kind of laying things out to fill space. No one's going to look directly at your work and be like, well, that one is a millimeter different than the other one. You might say that because we all notice our mistakes, but the person you send this to, I could almost guarantee you won't notice. That's literally how much we're using of that sheet. So make sure you always, again, save your scraps. If you want to be efficient, I just thought of this. We've got everything in a strip right now. I have these cool, they're like a crafting, scrapbooking, pinking shears. So that is how I got my nice little jagged edge on my ornament tops. So I'm going to use those and all at once just trim across this before I cut them apart. If you've never used scrapbooking scissors before, sometimes they're a little delicate or they get stuck like they just did. So just, be very gentle. as you use them, and be kind to yourself as you cut. Sometimes you can only do a little cut, then you have to reposition and cut again. It's just because they have a bit of an awkward blade versus something like a normal pair of scissors. But they give you a really cool effect. All right, I'm gonna cut these apart. So I have 3 ornament tops. All right, I think I can move that to the side. You don't need it anymore. All right, so now I have the pieces of each ornament, oops, ready to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and assemble these so that you can see it. Start with my own face, which feels a little bit odd. And I'm just using normal double stick tape. I don't have an instruction page, but again, this video will be on the Michael's YouTube. As probably tomorrow, it's within 24 to 48 hours. So you can go back and watch and see anything you need to see and fast forward to just the portions you need. So I attach those together. And now I'm just gonna attach a little bit of double stick tape to the top of this ornament. I think I want it to go like right above my head. I enjoy doing old school paper crafting. I mean, we have a cutting machine here at the office and I can do a lot of stuff with it. Emily, who runs our social media, she's in chat with you guys. She does a ton of stuff with the cutting machine and puts it on our social media. I don't know, I enjoy, unless it's super, super crazy intricate, I enjoy getting in and doing it by hand. And there we go, we've got that guy. It's a lot of steps, but it's the same step repeated over and over again. So like the 3 ornaments are going to be made the exact same way. But again, that's why everything will be going up on the Michael's YouTube so that you can watch this over and over and over again and get anything you may have missed. All right, so you're going to attach that above your other photo. I also would love to see what photos you guys choose. I used to, before I adopted my dog, my puppy, I used to have this adorable Christmas photo of me and my cat in front of the Christmas tree that just randomly happened one day. And I have not been able to get something like that with my dog yet. Because he is a baby, he's only 9 months old. That's fairly centered. It's gonna be his first Christmas. I have to figure out how to put the Christmas tree so that he can't destroy it. My cat mainly ignores the Christmas tree and just sleeps underneath it. So he's not a problem. All right, so you have 3 assembled ornaments now. So now we just have to go ahead and attach them to our card. And you can see these are really, really similar. Oh, I used a different picture of Billy. These are really, really similar, but it just gives it a little different feel by doing it with the Christmas lights instead of the word background there, the Merry Christmas background. All right, so kind of figure out how you want to position these on here and where a pet fence around the tree. I have debated that. I think I may end up doing tree on a table, smaller tree on a table just this year. But still figuring that out. But yeah, so just kind of figure out how you want to orient these on here. It doesn't super matter if you stay within the patterned paper border. Since he's actually facing the other way this time, I think I want to change this since I accidentally used a different photo. So I think I'm going to put him on the bottom instead of the outside, because I don't know, it just works for me. And I kind of like that orientation. All right, so don't glue or tape them down yet because we need ornament string. Okay, I am super, super, super not precious and specific about the length of your string, because it's going to depend on how you do your ornament layout, and each ornament takes a different length string. So like if you look at this guy, Marty, that's my cat, his string starts here and goes all the way up. That's obviously longer than the string here. So you're going to eyeball this. I chose this kind of silver, just silver cording. You can use anything in any color that you like. But again, I liked the silver accent with this because I was doing black and white photos. If you have access to like embroidery floss, you can also use like embroidery floss, a few strands. That'll give you a good effect. But to do this, all you're going to do is kind of eyeball it. And so I'm going to start with Billy since he's on the bottom. And I want it to go up to the middle here where my bow is going to end up hiding the strings, because that is cheat code. All of my work for the strings is hidden by the ribbon and the bow. I'm going to need it to be about that long. So I'm going to hold it with my finger where I want to cut it. Go ahead. Get your ornament. So I've just got the reverse side here. I'm going to get some tape and I'm going to tape that string right down. Since this is not something that's going to be handled a lot, it's not even like an actual ornament that's going to go on the tree, we can just tape it. If this is something that gravity was going to like pull on, tape wouldn't be good. But this is literally just going to sit on the card and no one, I hope, is going to yank on that string. So just tape that string down. Get something on the back of your card, like some double stick, or if you want to use a hardier glue, you can. And then place your ornament back down, stick it down. Move this out of the way. All right, he's a little long, my string. So I'm going to trim it. To about there. Again, tiny little piece of tape, which I will cover later with that bow right there. Oops. All right, take these off for a second. So you can see, I know it's hard to see my cord, but you can see really clearly, there's his string, and I just chose a point in the middle that it's going to go to. So now this point is where all of my other strings, the other ends, are going to match. So everything is going to go to that point so that we can hide the ends of our strings behind the bow. Okay, let's go ahead and do him next, because I think he's the next longest one and I want him to be about there. So again, we're going to eyeball this. So put your string down. And there is the end of my other cord. So I'm going to pinch that with my fingernail. Pick it up. And it's okay if you cut it a little long. If you cut it a little short, you're going to end up cutting it again. Okay, so I've got my string. Flip your ornament over. Put it on the back. And just tape it right down. Ta-da. And then, just like before, more tape. More double stick in my case. All right, position this how you like it. I like to tilt them a little bit. So let's go with that. All right, so this is a little bit longer than the other string. I can probably hide it, but I'm just going to cut it down a tiny bit. Tiny bit, not even a 1/4 inch. If you've got good scissors, trimming it that little will not be a problem. And again, try to be careful with your Scotch tape up here if you're using Scotch tape, but we are going to hide this, so don't stress out too bad as long as you're not being super messy with it. All right, and now to get our last photo on there. My last photo is of me, and it's going to kind of cover Billy's string a little bit, which is why you want to pay attention to what order you put your ornaments in. Always start with the one on the bottom and then go from there. Okay. All right, so I'm going to eyeball this again. This is the shortest string. Pinch about where you want it to be cut. Oops. I always cut a little bit extra because I figure I can hide it or trim it. All right, hopefully I cut this to the right length. One more time. And see, you can see I have a pencil line back there. That is why we always hide our work on the back. Try to never, unless it's something like photographs, try to never draw on the front of what you want to use, because it would look really weird if you couldn't get that pencil line to go away and the whole world could see it. I was sticking the tape to my fingernail and not to my ornament, but there we go. That guy's down again. So we've got, he kind of looks, if you watch Looney Tunes cartoons, he kind of looks like one of the Acme bombs that the Wile E. Coyote would use. All right, more double stick so that this one doesn't fall off the card. And I kind of want it to be in that space. And again, it's a tiny bit long. You'll probably be fine, but. And then tape it down. All right. So what you have when you get to this step should look like this. You've got 3 strings leading to just kind of the top middle of your card. I did not go all the way to the top of my pattern paper. I probably went about ½ an inch down, just because if you look at this one, I wanted to have this cute little light border between my ribbon and my pattern, because I think that looks cute. If you want to go all the way to the top of your pattern paper, you can. I just like leaving that. So again, this is what you have so far. And you can see if it catches the light right where my Scotch tape is, that's going to get covered up. But as of now, this would be mail worthy because these won't fall off. All right. I have just got I think this is about a ½ inch grasping ribbon, satin ribbon. This is, it says 3/8 to 5/8, so I don't know which size this is on here, but I'm gonna guess it's closer to 5/8. Just nice green Christmassy satin ribbon. You can eyeball this for length and trim it down later. Or wait, why am I being silly? I know that this is 5 inches. So we are going to cut this at 5 inches. I keep trying to use centimeters. I need to stop trying to use the metric system. I don't understand the metric system. All right. This is the only step that previously I have used hot glue for. I'm gonna have to trim this down a little bit more. I will worry about that after I get it glued down, because I want it to fit really perfectly like it does here. You can see like there is nothing hanging off the edges, and I didn't wrap it around the inside of the card. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead. Sorry, I realized my glue gun doesn't want to stretch, so I may be a little off camera for that part, for the actual putting the glue on the ribbon, but I'll show you. Just put a tiny dab of glue on the end of your ribbon. I used a little too much, I think. Woo, I did use a little too much because it just seeped out and got me. I haven't glued this side down yet, but you can see I'm hiding the majority of my Scotch tape already, so that then when we put the ribbon on, or the bow, it's going to hide the rest of that. All right, so just line whichever edge you start with, whether it be this edge or this edge, just make sure you line it up nicely with the edge the first time you glue it. I've got my little bit that's hanging off that end. So what I'm going to do now is hold this down with my finger and trim. So I trimmed that, so it's going to be nice and there. Again, I'm sorry, my hot glue gun isn't wanting to stretch far. So I'm going to try to use less hot glue this time, so I don't burn myself. That's the only problem with hot glue. All right. I accidentally pulled my ribbon a little bit. So I've got it. So it created like a string. I don't want to unravel anything, so I'm going to cut it. If you accidentally make a mistake while you're making your card, just go with it. You can work it, you can make it, you know. People are going to be so impressed if they're not crafters that you made your own stuff. They're like, they're not going to see the flaws. They're just going to be so excited that you did this. Like, I have a ton of friends that are not creative friends, and every time I make something, they're just amazed. All right, so you can see we've already got that nice pop of green going on. I want to get this nice pretty bow on top though. We are like 95% done with this card. I have this awesome glitter ribbon. I do recommend like some kind of sparkle or some kind of texture or something for this, just because I think it gives it that extra zhuzh. Especially because, you know, almost everything else we're using is paper. So I think I'm gonna, real quick, I think I'm gonna tack down the bottom middle because it's moving a little bit for me. Even though I'm not sure I did that on my original, but there we go. Ooh, hot. There we go, just tacked that down. Hot glue spider webs are real. There we go. Now this isn't gonna move and shift. That probably would have tacked down when I put the bow there, but okay. If anyone has ever been frustrated by their inability to tie a beautiful bow, the first thing I need to tell you is it's a lie. This is not a tied bow, but it is a really pretty, perfect bow. This is where your ruler will come in handy. You're going to end up using a lot of ribbon. I think I did about 12 inches. And cut. Doesn't have to be perfect, but if you do it too short, it won't work. All right, so you have got 12 straight inches. You might think we're going to go ahead and tie this. Again, this is a lie. We're not tying it. What you're going to do, wrap it around. Make your bunny ears like you're a kindergartner learning to tie your shoes. So you've kind of got this happening. And just adjust it so that you end up having two equal bunny ears. I think I'm pretty close. And again, I'm going to try to show you so we can all see that better. It's hard doing it in the middle of the air like this. I'm sorry, it's easier on the table. Loop it around and make bunny ears. But all I'm doing is holding this center part. That might be a little bit too big what I just did, so I'm just going to shrink it by pulling the ends a little. That looks better. Again, if you see a perfectly tied bow somewhere, I will challenge you that it is probably not an actual bow. Okay, so we want to make sure, I'm going to lay this down exactly like I have it. I'm going to try to do this on camera, but again, my hot glue gun doesn't want to stretch. I'm going to, sorry, I've got to cheat a little because my hot glue gun is stuck on something. All right, put down a little hot glue. Get your bunny ear back. Okay. So it's gonna look kind of, I've got hot glue spider webs everywhere. It's gonna look kind of, if you turned it this way, it's gonna look like one of those benefit ribbons. Got a ton of hot glue stuck right there. There we go. Go back. If you can keep your finger there while you do this, like I was showing you when you first made it, that will be helpful, but I couldn't because my hot glue gun is fighting me. All right, and then put a little bit more hot glue between the two pieces of ribbon to hold the top piece on. So that already is a pretty good bow, except we're missing our little cinched knot in the middle. So for this, you do not need that much. And again, this is 12 inches of ribbon. So just keep that in mind. I'm just gonna cut a very small piece. This is probably about 1.5 inches. I'm not gonna be perfect and precious about how much because this is a thin ribbon. I don't need like another 12 inches to go around the middle. I just need probably 2 inches max, but even that's probably gonna be too long. All right, I'm sorry, hot glue, you can't see it, but like the hot glue is literally, it's multiplying like a triple from Star Trek, it's everywhere. All right, so flip to the back of your bow. So you've got your underside, put a little bit of hot glue right in the middle. And let's put our nice little, what's gonna be our knot down there. Oh no, I almost touched the hot part of my hot glue. I'm klutzy today. Wrap it around. Okay. I'll show you again. So I started, this is on the back, it's hot glued onto the back. I'm wrapping it around the right side middle. So you have like this third tail coming out there. Okay, flip it back over to your back. Oh, hot glue everywhere. And we're gonna put just a little bit more hot glue in the middle again. Ooh, that was about the perfect length and I didn't intend that. And tap that back down. If you have excess, trim it off. I somehow magically did not. All right, so there is my fake bow that looks really, really perfect, except I do want to trim down my little ends here. So I'm going to do that. I've also got glitter everywhere since this is a glittery ribbon. I would like to do that before I put it down on my card because it's going to be harder once it's down on my card. So I'm just going to go here. I don't like a long ribbon tail. If I keep my scissors straight and the ribbon at an angle, I'll get that nice, pretty angle cut like I did here. And again, try to get close, but you probably can't be perfect. I think about there will give me the same length on both sides. Yeah, I did pretty good. I think this side might be a little longer than this side, but I think it looks good regardless. Oh, little glitter everywhere. Glitter and hot glue. All right, something like tacky glue would also work for this too, but glitter or hot glue is going to be your fastest solution. Put hot glue on the center back and then put that center back right down where all three of your string meets underneath the green ribbon. And look at that, you have a completed card. All of your Scotch tape and the ends of your string is hidden. And again, this kind of shows how you can do it with any patterns and any paper you choose. These are just the ones I liked. We can go ahead and switch back to the front facing camera. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask them now, guys. Again, these are how our cards turned out. Any photos you wish will be fine. Any colors, any patterns, just, you know, have fun, make it your own. This is a really cute technique. You can do it in a lot of different ways. Sorry, I saw a question pop up a second ago and trying to see if I see. How did I cut the photos into circles? Like I said, if you either have a circle stencil, you can use that, or you can use a punch if you have the right size punch. I actually basically used a 2-inch circle stencil on my photos, and then I just cut them out really carefully by hand. If you were to zoom in super close and compare the photos to the circle that I cut out with this guy, you would see some flaws. But I mean, look at that. The average person is not going to tell there's flaws. So be kind to yourself. I hope you all had fun today. I hope you all enjoy making Christmas cards or holiday cards of any kind with this technique. And again, I would love to see what you make. So if you do make anything, please, please, please tag us on Facebook or Instagram. We're Craftsmith Co. Emily, I'm sure, can pop that into the chat. We want to see it. And Michael's hashtag is #MakeItWithMichaels. They'd love to see it too. This will be up on Michael's YouTube in about 24 to 48 hours if you need to watch any steps again. And I'm excited to see what you guys craft. Yeah. So if anyone is asking about this paper light string behind us, by the way, this is actually a kit that we made. It is sold currently at Michael's. So you can go pick that up there, and it comes with instructions and everything, so you can make this yourself. So these are super cute. These we made as well. We have a whole set of Christmas boxes at Michael's right now. They're adorable. These are the gnomes because they're gnome-tastic. All right, if there are no other questions, everyone, happy early Thanksgiving and happy holidays. Enjoy your crafting.